Before we get to our next guest, a little background. Let's go back to 1957. Stay with me. An epic historical movie is about to be made. They were all the rave back then. Think Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur. This movie would be called The Conqueror, and it would be the story of Genghis Khan. It would have an all-star cast, would be shot on location in the deserts of southwest Utah. Now, to play Genghis Khan, John Wayne. Yeah, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet at that time. But this would be one of the most bizarre and odd miscastings in film history. When the movie finally came out, and I've never seen it because no one really has seen it since it was taken out of distribution. I've seen clips, but it is laughably bad what I've seen, and critics agreed about the film. What wasn't laughable is what happened over the next 4 decades. And that's where our next guest comes in. His new movie is called The Conqueror, Hollywood Fallout. Joining us now is the writer and director of The Conqueror, Hollywood Fallout, William Nunez, who joins us from New Jersey. William, welcome to the show.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir. I said you off camera, this is such a fantastic, tragic story. Our viewers many may not know this story, which, as I said in the intro, starts with John Wayne and the group doing The Conqueror in, I guess, the southwest part of Utah, where something is happening 75 miles to the west. You pick it up from there.
Well, they decided to do the film The Conqueror in the St. George area, which is about 140 miles east of Las Vegas. And they decided to shoot there because the red clay looked like the Gobi Desert, though I doubt any of them would have known at the time what the Gobi Desert looked like. However, little did they know that they were also shooting 135 miles to the west of the Nevada test site, where the year before, really 9 months before, 11 tests were conducted that was at least 20 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that the winds of most of those tests blew in the direction of where they were shooting. And then they had the misfortune of shooting the movie in the summer, where desert storms are at their highest peak, and that, coupled with hundreds of horses used as extras kicking up that dust, for about 2 to 3 months they were breathing that dust constantly, and it had ill effects on their health, unfortunately.
Yeah, some of the stats, I knew of this story for over 30 years, but the stats that you talk about in this film, I mean, the main people you see, the director, former actor, movie star, producer now, director at the time of the film, Dick Powell, Susan Hayward, Oscar winner, Agnes Moorehead, Pedro Armadillo Sr., John Wayne, they all get cancer and all die. And you look at these numbers you list, out of the 222 crew members, 91 develop cancer, 46 die from it, and we haven't even mentioned the nearby town of St. George.
Yes, and that was a higher than normal cancer rate for anyone working on a said production. And also with St. George, which back then was a very agrarian area. It was mainly farmers, and it was, as a tourist destination, a stopover, as it were. If you're going from, say, Salt Lake, or all the way from Winnipeg, that highway goes down all the way down to San Diego. So it's a large highway, and it was mainly known as a stopover town, to rest up or to visit Mount Zion National Park. However, having said that, in the late 50s and 60s, children were getting leukemia at 2.5 higher rates than the general population of North America, and women were getting thyroid cancer at an alarming rate, and men were getting prostate cancers, say, in their 30s, which is a disease that usually starts in your 50s, or normally associated with your 50s. So those clusters led me to believe that even though most of the people that worked on the Conqueror were smokers, those coincidences, it probably did not help that they filmed there during the height of atomic testing.
And William, one of the things that your movie talks about that I didn't know, and I'm not one who's going to defend Howard Hughes, who was the producer and owner of RK Studios at the time, but he says bring 20 truckloads of that clay, that sand, back to Hollywood so we can lay it on the studio floor so we have a continuity. And you've got your people in the movie. I don't mean to laugh, it's not funny, but they have months and months more exposure to that in the studio. And then what happens to that that sand after they're done?
No one knows. I personally believe it stayed there through many other productions. I couldn't find. I did extensive research, but we couldn't find that magic bullet, which is a PO order of saying, ship this tons of sand after the production to wherever. So there's always been speculation that it didn't move far; it stayed in the Los Angeles area. But what's interesting is that radioactivity in soil has a half-life of 14,000 years, so it's still about. So it was a great story that the Waynes went back there with a Geiger counter in the 90s, and it was still going off. Even though it was at low levels, it was still going off.
William, this is a superb film. I thank you for being the writer and director of this. This story is long overdue. This is, to me, part of what makes documentaries so great, because they expose this and they remind people, and just because you may not know who the participants were doesn't make the story any less more important. And this is a biggie. The movie, you can check it out, is The Conqueror, Hollywood Fallout. It is available now for viewing at home. And I want to thank Richard and Lauren from Blue Fox Entertainment, who not only got me a copy of this film to view, but got me to you, William. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.